Morning, good morning. I hope I'm live. We've been having a few glitches with the internet and with the computer and so on and so forth. So can you can you tell me, Chris, is this working at all?
It seems to be, Rosemary.
Okay, all right. So let's just carry on then. So today is the 9th of February. I had to think for a second. Yes, in 3 days' time, it's my grandson's birthday, and he'll be 10 years old today. So before we begin the show, first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is standing to my right side. And I'd like to say good morning to Chris. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Rosemary.
Uh, and let's see. What have we been doing today or this week? We've been up to so many different things. Uh, the hole in my bathroom ceiling has gotten a bit larger. Yes, they still haven't fixed the roof. My pool gate hasn't been touched at all. It's still absolutely in a state of being destroyed. My pool company, well, I'm firing them today. Economy pools, don't have them. Anybody, if you hear of them, don't have them. They are terrible, terrible, terrible. And finally, I'm getting rid of them today. Yay! Anyway, aside from all of that, if it's not one thing after another. I'm going to ask you all if you could send healing to my grandson's puppy Apache, because he's not been very well the last couple of days, and we hope he's on the mend now, but we're not sure. So you can see, let's see, bathroom destroyed, roof not done yet, pool definitely not even touched. The garage window is still broken. What else? I mean, I don't know what else can go wrong, really.
Oh,
But
don't
look,
say that.
look at me, look at me. I'm still smiling, and because honestly, these are material things that are going on with us, and you know, uh, I do have my health, I do have my strength, and so I'm going to be able to deal with all of these things as they come along, and we're just going to keep going and keep going on. I don't know if anybody saw uh, my Instagram this morning with I'm showing my grandson how to make creme pâtissière, which is, in other words, custard. Anyway, the French do have a nice way of saying things, don't they? Creme pâtissière, creamy custard made with egg yolks, and if you want the recipe, I'm happy to give it to you. But anyway, and and I put this lovely little caption. I do think actually that life is a bit like custard, isn't it? You know, if you make a good custard, it can be sort of creamy and smooth and delicious. But you know, if you don't watch it, if you don't watch what you're doing, if you don't watch what you're up to, as you'll hear me say to my grandson, oh well, life can get really lumpy. Custard can get really lumpy. Life can get really lumpy. It has lumps and bumps and all over the place. And depending on our attitude, depending on our trust, depending on whether we trust the universe, depending on whether we trust that this is where we're supposed to be right now. So, what can we take from this experience? What can I take from the experience of every time I go into my bathroom looking up into the rafters because there's no ceiling up there? What do I take from this? I think to myself, at least I've got a roof over my head, even though it isn't finished yet. At least I have a roof over my head. So there's always positives to be found amongst the negatives. Anyway, Chris, is there anybody there?
Oh, yes, Rosemary. They're waiting for us to get on.
Okay, all right. So keep going then. I'm sort of, sorry, stirring. This
Well,
is my drink stirrer.
everyone that heard you talk about Apache have placed comments in the chat room saying they're sending prayers for Apache.
Thank you very much. That I do appreciate very much.
Barb is saying again this week as a reminder, good morning, all. Rosemary, can we please say some healing prayers together today for all in need?
We can. we can. We'll do that in a little bit. But Barb, thanks. I like that idea. So we will absolutely, yes. And when the banging, mind you, there hasn't been much banging lately, but we keep thinking we can't do a healing session because the roofers are coming this week, and we can't do a healing session because they're going to be banging and clattering in the bathroom and so on and so forth. But if we plan some healing sessions and there is banging clattering, we'll just have to cancel them. So you just have to put up with us. But why don't we have a healing session? Maybe next week we can plan an afternoon perhaps where we could all join in and join with the universe, and we can talk more about healing. I'd like to know also, did any of you watch our pendulum event? Was great, I thought. I loved it, and I'd love to know also how many of you tried it and how are you doing? And please, we'd love to hear your comments. Email us, Rosemary at Rosemary Altea, or Chris, Kris at rosemaryaltea.com, and let us know how you're doing with the pendulum. We are going to have another little lesson in a couple of weeks. Well, we've got lots of things to do. Let me see. I could talk to you about how to tune into your aura spotting. What on earth is aura spotting? I hear some of you say. Well, every living thing has an aura, has an energy field that surrounds it. And how do you see it? Now, some of us are able to see it more clearly than others, and some of us are able to feel or to sense it. We're not going to do too much of that this morning because we're going to have a whole hour of either. Let me see, I'll give you all a choice. We could do aura spotting. We could learn how to create our own aura and infuse our own aura with positivity. Let me see what else we could do. There's so many things, so many different tools. Maybe we'll put up on the website, 3 or 4 choices, and you can vote on what you'd like. We can do them all, but which would you like to do first? So maybe we'll put up a little box on the website which says choose this, or this, and we'll see which one gets the most votes. In a couple of weeks, we shall do it again. All right. So, Chris, let's go to the chat room, shall we?
Yes, and don't forget, Rosemary, March 11th is your Infinity Foundation show, The Art of Spiritual Healing.
Yes. So, yes, March, there you are. Chris just told you March the 11th. Now, we did the Infinity event last Saturday afternoon. It was great. We had some fantastic responses. I think people really, really learned a lot. And, then that's always a good feeling. We had some wonderful questions. We had some wonderful people participating. We had somebody participating and volunteering to do the bottom brick exercise while everybody else watched to see how it went and what we did. And then, of course, there were, dozens and dozens of questions and comments about, well, how do I do that? Or can I do that? Or what kind of questions should I be asking if I'm going to do that with someone? We had a lot of people who wanted to volunteer for the bottom brick. Of course they did. Why wouldn't you want to volunteer for the bottom brick? Because it's such a great and a fun exercise. So we're looking for volunteers again for the bottom brick exercise because we'd like to sort of do a little more of that as well. So, all right. So, we're just going to keep going with what we're doing. We're going to ignore the builders and the plumbers. Yes, I know. Well, I told you my bathroom is ruined. I've got to have the plumbers in. I've got to have a new toilet put in. I've got to have the bath ripped out. I mean, the bath's all scratched. Oh, gosh, look at me. I'm moaning and I'm complaining. But actually, I'm going to have so much fun going and choosing a new bath, right? I mean, right? Wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do that? Keep going, Chris. Let's keep going in a
Sure.
positive way.
All right. So Dean started us off this morning with the question saying, can people in the spirit world hear our thoughts? And do they hear us better if we speak aloud?
I love that question, Dean. I'm almost sure you know the answer to that question, but I know a lot of people don't. So, do people in the spirit world hear our thoughts? Well, how many times have you all heard me say thoughts are living things? Our thoughts are living little tiny pulses of energy. So when our loved ones in the universe are connecting with us, or when the universe, when we're connecting with the universe, those tiny little pulses of energy are well understood. So yes, even your thoughts are heard. It's a bit scary, really, isn't it? But yes, even our thoughts are heard. Uh, are they heard clearer and better if we voice them? I don't really think so, because our thoughts can be very powerful and very positive. Um, our thoughts are the most positive and powerful energy, or if we choose, the most negative energy that we have. And with our thoughts, we can create so much. A little bit like combining healing prayers or any kind of prayers. It doesn't matter whether we say them out loud or whether we're thinking them or whether we're putting those thoughts into some sort of process in our heads. It doesn't matter, because they are heard. Our thoughts are heard just as clearly as if we speak out loud. I can remember a few years ago, really weird memory that just popped into my head now. I can remember years ago, I was in England. I was living in England at the time. That's how long ago it is. That was so long ago, and I can remember um, uh, getting a bit bothered and upset because I couldn't get into the top cupboard. I remember having to climb up onto the counter, which was a bit of a dicey thing to do, to get into the cupboards. And all of these thoughts were, you know, not very nice, playing into my head when I was thinking, how stupid I was to put these up there. Why did I put them up there out of the way? Those negative thoughts were directed at me, because I was the one who did the stuff in the first place. But nevertheless, negative thoughts heading towards you are just as damaging, if not more so, than negative thoughts heading towards somebody else. So remember, you be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, think positive thoughts about yourself, give yourself lots of love and lots of healing, so that you are ready and able then to be able to give others lots of love and lots of healing. Okay, Chris, keep going.
This is from Judith. I went into anaphylactic shock and had to be shot with the EpiPen. I
Oh,
felt like I was floating in an in between place. My memory is still vague. I felt close to angels and still do. She's looking for any commentary you have on that.
well, first of all, are you all right? What caused that shock? What caused you to go into that shock? Because that's serious stuff that we're talking about here. And of course, there's rarely any warning before you head into that state. Um, but I'm absolutely certain that your angels had their arms around you as this was going on and keeping you safe. And obviously, you've recovered enough to be to comment on this show. Are you okay? Is what I want to know. And of course, your angels are with you. And of course, that feeling, I bet you felt in that space so calm and so peaceful, and that everything was going to be okay, because that's how it feels when you connect with your angels, and that's how it feels when you're in that space between let's say life and death. You're in that wonderful space where you are held, where you're protected, and you can't do anything about it anyway, so sink into it and enjoy it. But my main concern, my main question for you is, and if you could let me know that, I'd appreciate it, are you okay? All right, Chris.
This comment is from Argentina, from Meki. My grandfather Omar has died some weeks ago, but his last days were painful.
Oh,
He was a lovely person that cared about his family. So I would like to know, how is he now? Regards from Argentina.
um, Meki, did you say?
Yes, Mechi.
We're probably saying it all wrong, so maybe you'd help us with the pronunciation. But thank you for your question all the way from Argentina. I have a funny story about Argentina, which I'm not going to tell you today, but all right. So I'm asking Gradle. He has his hand on my shoulder now. I do not see your grandfather. I might be catching a little glimpse, but Gradle tells me that, and yes, isn't he a lovely man? Wow, he is a really lovely man. And I think I'm to tell you what? I'm to tell you that the pain is all gone. It's gone. And I've got a lovely man standing next to me here, just in front of me. The pain is all gone. He's safe. He's well. He has the most sparkling, joyful eyes when he's looking at me. So I can tell you that he is definitely sparkling and definitely joyful. So I think that this is your grandfather who's trying to get through to you. So I hope that helps you a lot, and also lots and lots of love. Don't worry. He tells me to tell you, don't worry about me. He's safe. And again, the pain is gone. It's all gone. And it came on so suddenly. Sorry, I'm still talking to him. It came on so suddenly at the end. It was so unexpected. It came on so suddenly, but it only lasted a very short time, apparently. So let me know if you understand what I'm saying to you, because he's definitely trying to connect with you. That's it, Chris. I'm okay. I could sit here for the next hour trying to connect, but we're not going to. I've forgotten where I am. Go for it. Yes.
All right, this is from Mark.
Morning,
I don't like to hear of anyone's fur children being ill. Even my 15-year-old is going through tough health issues, blindness, deafness, weak paws. So he's sending healing to Apache.
Thank you. And likewise, we will send healing to your fur, as you call them, fur babies. So thank you, Mark, for that.
Karen saying she loved the live show about pendulums last week.
Oh, good. But Karen, have you tried it? Did you do it yet? I mean, and what are your results? It's all very well if you sit in and you're gaining all this knowledge, but the idea is to give you this knowledge so you can at least use it a little bit. So if any of you have tried the pendulum, we'd love to hear how you're going with that and how you're doing with that. And we will probably have a pendulum part 2 session if we get enough responses and we get enough people wanting to know, okay, now what do I do next? We'll have a part 2. Why not? We can do anything we like, actually. When I think about it, isn't this fabulous? We can just do anything we like on this show. Anything I choose to do. Well, we know who's in charge. Anything that Gregor thinks we can do, we can do. But yeah. Okay, Chris, keep going.
Maggie says, I think my usage of the pendulum will take time and patience because it doesn't seem to want to answer my questions. I asked if I would meet someone and it just stayed still, staring at me.
Well, I mean, what kind of a question is that? I said to you, you have to ask a precise question. Now, you say, will I meet someone? Yeah, you could meet someone at the grocery store. You could meet the postman at the door. It's an ambiguous question, aside from anything else. Maggie, you've got to be precise in your question. Will I find a partnership in my future? But start with the small things. That's a big thing. Start with the small things. Start with, so just go into it slowly. But I mean, will I meet someone? What is that? Of course you're going to meet someone. You're going to meet someone every day. So, of course you're not getting anything back, because what is that about? It wasn't specific. It wasn't clear. Of course, what does it mean? And if you'd have asked me that question, I'd be saying, what are you talking about? Of course, you're going to meet the baker if you're going to the bakery store. You're going to meet, and on it goes. It's it's a silly question. Maggie, be specific. Chris.
All right. This is from Cheryl. Sometimes I get down because I don't have much, but then I see others that are in a much more dire life situation, and I feel lucky and blessed to have what I have.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that, because it is so easy, isn't it, to get to despair of your own life, of what you're doing. I can't make up my mind about this. I don't know what I should do about that. And aren't we lucky, really, to have choices? Perhaps too many choices. Perhaps we shouldn't be given as many choices. Then we wouldn't get so down about which choice to make. But I do think that people, you know, I always say to people, have trust, have faith, and be patient. Just wait. But nobody's willing to do that anymore. Everybody, we're living this age of quick fix, and if it doesn't happen tomorrow, if it doesn't happen next month, then what am I doing, and so on and so forth. So I am thrilled that you are able to put things in perspective with your life, and it seems to me that you say you don't have much, but it seems to me that you have an awful lot, because you have joy, you have common sense, you have the ability to see how much better off you are than most other people, and a lot of people don't have that ability. So I love the fact that you seem to have such a lot, and a lot to share. So thank you for your question, and thank you for what you said in your comments. Thank you. Chris.
Well, Rosemary, that reminds me of our conversation this morning about Syria and Turkey.
Well, yes, I mean, so many people, but there's so many catastrophes all over the world. And of course, uh, who was it? I think it was Dean who said, do those in the spirit world, do they hear our thoughts? And our thoughts and our prayers go out to, everywhere you look in this world, there is disaster. People think it's the time, it's the age that we live in. In a way, they're right, because there were all of these disasters and floods and hurricanes and earthquakes and diseases and so on and so forth. There were all of these things. There have been all of these things since time began. And the truth is that we didn't know about them because we did not have the internet. We did not know about them because we didn't have the computer age. We were living in an age where, communications were slow. People living on the other side of the world, if you were lucky, you got a letter which might take you 6 months to a year to receive. So it just seems overwhelming to us because we know more about it. But of course, when we look at Syria, we look at Turkey, we look at there's so many different places I can say our prayers are going out, but particularly in this moment with Syria and Turkey, they've lost thousands have been lost. They're still counting. They probably will never get the exact count. It's an awful, awful tragedy, and our prayers go out to all of them. And if we look at the big picture, we can feel absolutely ashamed of our own selves. I can feel ashamed of myself for worrying about my bathroom ceiling. Having said that, every day I'm having to face the big hole in the ceiling. So in my humanness, in our humanness, we can be forgiven for focusing on the minutiae, on the small stuff, as long as we realize and understand it is only the small stuff, and there are people out there who are battling far bigger, far more traumatic situations than we. And sending out our thoughts and our prayers out into the universe for these people, if we do it collectively, it works wonders. So let's take that moment, shall we, right now. Are you ready? Are you sitting comfortably? Do you have your hands palms upwards on your laps? Let's say a prayer. Okay, Barb, are you ready? Let's say a prayer. And we don't have to go into any particular mode. We don't have to, go into a meditative mode. It is good if we quiet ourselves, because when we're praying or when we're sending out our healing thoughts or our healing prayers, we do want to be somewhat centered and somewhat able to focus on what we're doing, because we're gathering our energy so that we can send that energy out to all of those who need it. And even as I'm talking to you all, I'm hoping that you're with me on this, and you're, again, collective thought. So collectively we're thinking together. We're going to send our healing prayers and our healing thoughts to those in Syria and Turkey who are suffering, to those in the wars of the world that are going on, even as we speak, to those who are struggling in whatever way, in the smallest of ways and the largest of ways. We send out our healing prayers to all of those who need it. So we're sending out our healing prayers and our healing energy out into the universe. The universe collects our thoughts and takes them. Our thoughts travel, and they take our thoughts and they travel to where they're needed, where they are needed most. And we begin always our prayer with, dear God, please allow us to participate in the healing process with you, and allow us to connect with that God force that is out there. And we always end our prayers, dear God, I will to thy will, which means that wherever God wants to direct our energy and our thoughts, which we give willingly and we send out willingly into the universe, and wherever God wants to take that energy, I will. I will to God's will. I will to thy will. So here you go. Here it is. Take it and use it wherever you decide is the best place. Dear God, I will to thy will. All right, Chris, let's go back into the chat room now.
All right, Sandy had made a comment when you were talking about aura spotting, creating your own aura and infusing it with positivity, saying both aura choices would be great.
Good. Well, good. We love it. But I will give you some more choices. And in a couple of weeks, we'll have another Thursday morning session, which reminds me, we are not going to be here this coming Saturday. We've got things to do. Chris has got things to do. I've got things to do. We're so sorry, but we are planning a, what are we planning? We are planning a cracking up. You just heard we're planning a healing session for next week. So we're going to be doing more and more. So be prepared to keep checking in with us, and be prepared to check in on a weekly basis, if you can, to our website, where it will tell you all about what we're up to. All right, Chris, keep going.
Bridget's mentioning, as a bottom bricker, I can testify that it is life changing for anybody who wants to volunteer for the bottom brick exercise.
Well, maybe, Bridget, you could volunteer to come on the show with me and talk about how you're doing after, because it's been a while, how you're doing and how it's affecting you now. Was it a lasting thing? Did you, were you able to take this experience with you? Are you still taking it with you? Maybe you'd like to tell us how it changed your mindset, because, it's all very well, we learn, we grow, but if our mindset doesn't change, nothing changes. I can have a student, or many students, who they want to learn, they want to grow, they really, really listen, they pay attention, but they're still doing the same things that they did a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They're still reacting in the same way that they did. So even though they're learning and growing, on the one hand, they're not applying that learning and growing to their own selves and to who they are and what they are. Oh, life can be so difficult, can't it? But if you want to learn and you want to grow, you have to learn to apply what you're learning to your own self, and to look at your own self and to see where you can, where the stumbling blocks are for you, and what it is that, it's a little bit, what it is that keeps us doing the same things over and over, and then getting disappointed because nothing changes. We just keep doing the same thing, or we react the same way. And what is that about? And the bottom brick, hopefully can help you with that. So please, all of you darling bottom brickers, we'd love to hear from you. Did it change your mindset? Are you able to see things differently? What about the reactions that you have? Are you reacting the same way that you did 2 years ago, or are you thinking more clearly? And so we want to hear from you. Okay, Chris, keep going.
All right, this is from Barbara. Can you help me to feel a deeper connection to my God? I feel a closeness with my angels and loved ones in spirit, but the idea of God is an abstract concept to me. I
Yes.
realize God is love, energy, and divine light, but it's difficult for me to feel a personal connection.
Well, God, I always, that's that word. I always tell people, God is dog spelt backwards. You know how I love my dogs. And I do have a personal connection to my dogs, but I also do feel that I have a personal connection to God. But um, different people have different views, and I'll give you my view, which may help you a little to feel that closeness. Um, but I'm not trying to change anybody else's views. I'm just giving you my own. My own idea of God is not that man sitting on a throne with a long white beard. That is not my God. Uh, my God is a force, an energy, a purity, a force for goodness, a force that encompasses not just this planet of ours, but the universe, and not just the universe that we're in, but the many universes that are out there. I see God as a force, and a force of purity, a force of truth. Um, I don't see God as damning in any way. I don't see that God force as judging or judgmental in any way. When I talk of God and when I talk to God my own self, um, I do personalize it in that I feel as if I'm talking to an entity, but I do understand also that that entity is bigger and goes beyond anything that I could possibly imagine. So I feel that God is a force. Uh, I know that I can connect to that force because I know that I am part of that force. Um, I feel that God is an energy, a universal energy, multi-universal energy, and I feel that my little tiny being here has this force, this energy, which I feel is part of that God force. I can't remove myself from that God force. I feel I'm a little drop in the ocean, a teeny tiny little drop, but I add to, or I hope that I add to that God force. I am a part of it. I was created from that God force. And I know that I'm created from that God force because although I am definitely, without a doubt, not anywhere near perfect, I can be mean, I can be probably bitchy sometimes, I can be, sometimes even cruel in my thoughts or frustrated in my thoughts or whatever. We can all do that, can't we? None of us is perfect, but nevertheless, at the heart of me, at the core of me, I feel this light that I know can only come from that one source, which is that God force. And I know that I was created from that God force and cannot ever separate from it, nor do I ever want to. But I feel that, let's say God is me and I am God, um, teeny part of God, teeny part of that God force, but nevertheless as an important teeny part of that God force. And so I'm not looking to love God. I'm not looking for God to love me. I suppose I'm looking just to be a part of this incredible, beautiful God force, which is love and light and joy and happiness that glows. And that is the part that glows within me. I don't know if that's helped you at all, if you've understood it at all, but it's the best way that I can explain, let's say, my God.
Okay, the next one's from Judith. She says, my sister left her pendulum to me. It is beautiful with
Oh,
crystals.
oh,
My brain was not ready due to the memory loss. However, I'll get back to it. It's wonderful.
oh, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. And, I think when you're using your pendulum, maybe you would like to visualize your sister standing next to you and helping you and guiding you in this, because I think it's something perhaps she liked to do and she'd love it if you did it too. So I think she'll be there helping you. How nice. What a nice. Thank you for sharing that. That's really nice. Chris.
The next comment is from Lisa. I was torn with following the clockwise and counterclockwise Q&A that I
Ah,
had learned earlier, but
oh
it
yeah,
worked better with how you showed. Um, no, side to side, yes, back and forth. I will
right.
be making my own as well. Thank you so much for the confidence.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm dying to see what you all come up with. And if you feel like sending us a picture through the email of your pendulum, we'd love to see it. We want to be part of your lives, and we know that you want to be part of our lives, because here you are, and Greg Eagle and I are just thrilled to bits that you're enjoying yourselves so thoroughly, and we want to hear more.
Okay, this one's from Starshine.
Okay.
I was recently contacted by the children's authorities seeking a family member to care for a baby born with many health concerns from a mom using drugs while pregnant. Do you see me raising this little angel?
Okay. That is a huge question, and I'm not prepared. It would be so irresponsible of me. I'd want to know much more about it. I'd want to connect with Greg to know much, way more about what's going on here. Um, we all want to help, and we all want to help in these situations. And often our first instinct is, "I'll take that child," or "I'll do this," but there are lots of questions. This is not something you can do, and this little angel could turn out to be, as he or she grows up, a perfect little horror, because our children do from time to time, don't they? They turn out to be horrors. I can remember when my daughter was 15 or 16, oh boy, was she a horror. I loved her to pieces, but raising children is not easy. Raising children who have uh, challenges, um, raising children who have health challenges is not easy, and we're not all cut out for that, and we're not all able to help. So, uh, I could only suggest that you have a consultation or you connect with me, and I know you. I think I might know you. So a conversation might be a good thing. Anyway, Chris.
This next one is from Marcella in Vermont.
Hi, Marcella. Is it
My
cold? Ooh, it's cold. All right.
my son was given less than 24 hours on Monday, and all meds, tubes, and machines were taken away except for morphine.
Okay.
Here it is Thursday, and he's still awake, laughing and joking. He's beginning to fade slowly. I don't understand, but he is so grateful for the life and love he has had. How could he last this long and be so at peace? Doctors are amazed.
Well, Marcella, come on. He is a healer. You are a healer. You're a fabulous healer. What have you been teaching him all of these years? We've been sending healing. But this young man must have such strength in him and such faith in him. And, this is, boy, oh boy, you should be so proud. You should be proud of yourself, and you should be proud of him. Um, I think that this is a gift. It's a gift that's been given to you, to your family, and it's a gift that's been given to him. You've had time with him. You've had time to say all the things you need to say. you've watched this perfect child of yours. Yes, I know he's grown, but he is a perfect child to you, and you've had all of these opportunities over the last few days to be able to say everything that you want to say and that you need to say. I think it's such a joyful thing, and I know that you're grateful for it, and I think you know how. How is it possible? Just remember this, okay? We love our doctors, don't we? We love our nurses. If it weren't for the medical profession, I personally would have been dead, oh gosh, years ago. And uh, let's see, I really ought to measure my scars again because they're huge. Yes, I have two of them. Well, I have one or two. I mean, I have a few, but the scars that I'm talking about are my kidney scars. They go from my middle of my stomach all the way up and around my waist and up into my back and up under my bra. Yes, and there are two of them. Um, yeah, I really should measure them, but they're several inches, several inches, maybe even a foot or so long. And I remember all those years ago, and the doctors saying to me, and this is what's going to happen, and I not only did I have the kidney issues, I had other issues as well. So my life expectancy, well, wasn't great. Um, Doctors don't know everything. As much as we love them and as much as we rely on them, they don't know everything. And here your son is proving, that life force that is within him is what is driving him forward. How fabulous for you to see it, to witness it, and to be a part of it. And how fabulous for him too. He's able to, not only are you able to say all the things that you want to say to him, he's able to say all the things that he wants to say to you and your family, and is able to just take these precious days and turn them into magic. Let me know how it goes, would you? Okay, keep going, Chris.
This is from Susan. Thank you, Rosemary, for the pendulum lesson. I've been asking if my daughter, who is living rough, is okay. So far, the answer is yes.
Well, yes, I mean, but yes, of course, and that must be a comfort to you. Uh, think of smaller questions when you're practicing the pendulum. Make sure you can ask the smaller questions as well, the more important questions. Remember what I suggested to you, or get together with friends or family. A group of you is so much fun to do this with, and the more you do it and the more you practice, and the more diversity of questions you have, the more you're going to, practice makes perfect. So the more able you're going to be able to do it. So just keep up that practicing. Okay, Chris, keep going.
Marcella says, thank you, I will. Um, oh goodness, the screen is frozen for 1 second. All right, Lorraine is saying, more and more I am realizing how spirit has helped me in so many ways. Gentle nudges, inspiration, guidance every day. Spirit is here to help us. Glad I realized and take notice.
Oh, we love this. I love you sharing this stuff with me. Thank you, Lorraine, for sharing that with us, because you think you're sharing it with me, but other people are listening in, and I think other people get inspired by what we say, by what you all say. So thank you for that.
Barb
Okay,
says, thank you for the prayers, Rosemary. I feel such comfort as I hear you pray.
good. Well, next week when we've figured out a day, if they don't come banging and clattering, and they might be ripping out the bathroom next week. Who knows what's happening? They say they're coming and then they don't. You know how it is. They could be banging on the roof and so on. If they're banging on the roof and they're making too much noise, then we won't be able to do a show, or we'll do it at night time. How about that? We'll do it later. Once all the dust has settled and the workmen have disappeared, we can do it later. So maybe that's what we'll be aiming for this next week. Okay, Chris.
Vicky says, but we cannot unlearn what we have truly learned. She's phrasing it in a question.
Uh, well, sometimes You know, I say to people who come to me, my students who come to me, I'm not asking you to let go of what you've already learned in life. Um, I'm asking you to set it aside, learn my way, learn, and then put the two together and see which one you prefer. And yes, of course, you can unlearn. It's like habits. You know, you get into the habit of doing things. Sometimes those habits are good, and sometimes those habits are not. But, and learned behavior from our parents. So we can have awful learned behavior from our parents, but we can easily unlearn those things that are damaging to us, and then refresh and learn something better. And if that something better is really helpful to us, we won't go back to the learned behavior. If it's learned behavior that's damaging to us, we can easily unlearn. So I think the answer to your question, if it's a question, is of course we can unlearn the bad stuff and recreate and learn positiveness, and learn to move forward with a definite and a positive attitude.
All right. Jeff from Maine is saying, in regards to the bottom brick lessons, I can't think my way into right acting. I must act my way into right thinking. And I haven't done the bottom brick yet.
Thank you, Jeff. What is it? What is he saying? I must read that to me again. That
I can't think my way into right acting. I must act my way into right thinking.
okay. Well, I think, hearing this, I think you can do both, because I think that your thoughts are what. In fact, I think it's more about, even if you're acting impulsively over something, so that you're acting into something good, or you're trying to create by acting, even if it seems impulsive, there have been moments of thought before that impulsive action. So we should argue this over dinner one night. I actually think that the thought comes before the act, because even in impetuous movements or impetuous moments, those thoughts have been brewing somewhere at the back of our head over a period of time. So when we take that impetuous action, I think it's based on the thoughts that we have had create going around in our head. Let's have a discussion about that. I want to know what you think about that, because I think, and I have to think about it some more, but I think that the thought comes before the action. And I think you've given me a conundrum, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Anyway, keep going.
Judith says that was a perfect description of God, Rosemary. My same belief and understanding. Thank you. And Tracy follows that up with, love that explanation about God.
Well, that's how I view God, and that has been my experience of God. And if you understand what I'm actually saying, if you understood any of that, then that is also your experience of God too. So interesting. Interesting, isn't it? But I think it helps us to understand that we're not here to please God. Uh, we're here to be part of God. Of course, we hope we please. We have to please ourselves. We have to please the universe. We don't have to, but we strive to. But I don't. I think the most important thing about God that I view is, when you're told in any particular religion that God judges you, and God is watching you and watching you and all the rest of it. And sometimes we get we feel guilty if we do something, or we think something, or we say something that we shouldn't, because God is watching. But that's not what God is, and that's not what happens. I believe that we are a part of God, even though it's a little tiny, teeny part of God. We are part of God, and we are part of that process, that energy of God and created from that energy. And for those of you who are reading soul signs or have read soul signs, you'll understand that even more. Chris.
This one's from Vicky. My mom used to say, "We are all part of like a blade of grass, small, but we matter."
Yes, exactly. You know, when I teach people, here we go again, there's another lesson, another Thursday lesson we could include. Listening, being able to listen. Um, when you know that you're capable of listening, you would be able to describe to me the sound of a blade of grass growing. Yes, you would be able to describe to me, or to know within you and to describe to me as your teacher, let's say, you would be able to describe to me um, the sound of the moon swinging in the sky. I don't know if any of you saw the moon yesterday. It was huge here, a huge moon. But if you listen very carefully, you can hear its movement, and that's when you know that you are truly connecting with the universe. Does a blade of grass make a sound as its roots are moving and growing? Yeah, of course it does, but you've got to be in tune. You've got to pay attention, and how can you do that? And um, also, and I tell you what is amazing, and this is one of the other things that I teach my students. Um, Listen to the sound of silence, because yes, it does have a sound, and yes, it does have movement and motion. Everything in this life of ours, everything in the universe, is all, we're all connected. It is all one. And I think I should leave you with that profound thought. But I'm obligated to say to Chris, do we have anything else before we close? Because we
Oh,
are
we
about,
had lots of questions and comments, Rosemary.
okay. Well, okay, we'll give it a couple more minutes.
Jennifer's saying, "Hi, a family member died of brain cancer on the 19th of December. She came to me in a dream about 4 days later. Was that real? I'm still struggling to understand how she got brain cancer."
Oh, never mind how she got it. That's been and gone and done. We can't. If you're struggling to figure it out, it's you're wasting your energy. I want to focus on the fact that she came to visit you and how joyful that is, how fabulous and joyful that is. It's wonderful. Life happens. We often don't know the reasons why. We often can't figure things out. Life happens. Rather than spend the rest of our life trying to uh, figure out a puzzle that we never are going to find the answer to, and you're never going to find the answer to your puzzle, I can tell you. Take that energy, use that energy, and be joyful. How fabulous, fabulous, fabulous for you that you've had that wonderful visit. And was it real? Of course it was. You know it was, right? You're asking me, but you really know that it was. All right, Chris, I'm pretty sure we're out of time. As I've said, we will not be here on Saturday, but we will be doing we're hoping we're going to be doing the bottom brick if we get volunteers. We will be doing cracking up. Both K's have agreed to doing cracking up, so we'll try and figure that out in the next week or so. We're going to be definitely trying to do some healing sessions next week, so watch for us. And Sunday is my grandson's birthday. So excited. He'll be 10 years old. How did that decade go by so fast? I don't know. I know that you've seen on my Instagram, I put up a little thing with him. This week is all about my grandson because it's my grandson's birthday. So you're getting a little taste of me teaching him how to make crème pâtissière. Remember, life is like custard. If we pay attention, most of the time we can make it creamy, smooth, and delicious. Yes, even when the bumps and lumps are in there. If we're not paying attention, yes, of course, it's going to be lumpy. And if we don't put enough sugar in it, yeah. So we have to put sugar in our lives. We have to sweeten our lives. We have to give love to ourselves. We have to give love to others. That's how we sweeten our lives. We have to give love to those around us, and don't just sit there thinking I love my dog, my cat, my son, my grandson, my granddaughter, whatever. Don't just sit there thinking it. If you don't say it, they don't know it. So say it and show it. If you don't show it in every way, they don't know it. So let this be a week. And Valentine's Day's, woohoo! Yes, it is. It's coming up. I probably will not once again receive a Valentine card from anybody. It breaks my heart, really. But then that's not really. But I've sent Valentine. Well, I actually I'm hoping maybe I'll get a Valentine card from my daughter and from my grandson. You never know. I can be hopeful, right? I won't expect it, but I can be hopeful. So if I don't see you before, have a fabulous, wonderful Valentine's Day. If you want a Valentine card and you've got nobody else who's going to send you one, make one for yourself. Send yourself love. Give yourself a Valentine card. Go out and buy some chocolate or some nice perfume or something and treat yourself, because Valentine's Day is on next Tuesday. So in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my friend's grandson. His name is Grayson. He's 1 year old. We're having his birthday party on Saturday. Unfortunately, I can't be with my grandson for his 10th birthday, but I shall be there the following week to hear him play at Carnegie Hall. Oh, isn't life joyful? I want you to think of all the joyful things in your life. As you're leaving this show, think of the things that you love. Think of the things that you can find joy in. Look out of your window. Even if it's snowing and freezing cold, it's still a joyful day, right? It always can be a little bit of joy, even in the most desperate of days. That's what we have to focus on here. And until I see you again, thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Thanks for Chris. A special thanks to Grey Eagle. As always, thank you again to all of you. Until I see you again, and keep posting on the website. I'm not going to disappear on you, I promise. Please, 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 everyone, have a very blessed rest of the day, and have a very blessed weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.